You said in your book that race relations in America are more about how black you are not than how black you are. And that the more you step away from your blackness, the more the majority accepts you. Now, bruh, let's be real. That's a huge statement. Help me, well, not help me, help all of us understand what you mean by that.
Well, let's look at the terminology first, because some people, when they hear blackness, they think of color.
Whoop. Yo, what's going on, fam? It's your boy, Anthony O'Neal. Welcome back to the table. Connor, we got my boy Lecrae in the building. You guys already know we keep it real, relevant, and
relatable.
That's right. We got a BET Award winner. We have a Grammy Award winner. We have the man.com himself, Lecrae. Lecrae is in the building. Y'all, ladies and gentlemen, can y'all help me welcome to the table my brother, my friend, Lecrae. Thank you so much for joining me at the table here today. Definitely want to be respectful of your time. So I have a couple of questions I want to run by you because I read the book, loved the book, and I'm going to dive into some questions that, we need to talk about. So here's the very first one, bro. You share that a year into your faith, you develop a deep disdain for the black church, and you became consumed with having the approval of the white church. Now, brother, I got to ask you why, because I remember a season of my life feeling the same way. Like, I want the approval, I want the blessings of the white church. And here's why. I'll be real with you, because I felt more supported by white people than I did by black people. But I'm curious, why for you?
I think, because I came up in this, when I first became a Christian, I didn't know there were different subcultures, subgroups. I thought it was just everybody loves Jesus, kumbaya, hold hands and dance. And then so I would go to all kinds of different churches. I didn't really care what ethnicity. I just thought it was this new family. Yeah. And as I would start listening and learning from some of the small town black churches that I would go to, some of the stuff I was hearing was not consistent with what I would hear at these more astute, probably more formally educated pastors in these white churches. And so, I'm a processor. I like to process and think about stuff, and I just am not like, I believe in science and Jesus. So it's it's like how does this work? And so the incompatibility was causing a problem for me early on. And then on top of that, man, I'm just being honest, once some of the white churches and whatnot found out about my gifts and my talents, it's like, wow, you're magical. Come do more things. And you love that feeling,
So I get it. So, all right. So for a season, you went over there, and then eventually, as your platform grew, as you started popping, as you started traveling the world, and I remember, man, I remember booking you for some things, man. I was like, good gracious, this is Lecrae. I remember that an article came out from you, about you on the Washington Post, and it says you are considered to be like a mascot for the white church. When you heard that, bro, as you're traveling, as you're on stage, and you're killing it. I remember seeing you at Celebration Church. I remember seeing you at Randy Bazette Church where we served together. We've been on crazy stages. While you're performing, how did that make you feel that these same people are looking at you as a mascot?
It was rough, man. Just being candidly, it was rough, because you want to be supported by your people. I come from the urban culture. I grew up in a predominantly black environment, and I never wanted to be disdained by my people. I wanted to be appreciated. And when you feel that sense of like, am I a sellout? Am I?
Bruh.
Is that what I am? Like, that's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
And so you just want to make sure that, for me, it was really painful. I just put it like that.
Did you feel like a sellout, bro?
I think internally, I knew there were some things that I did not agree with and I didn't like, but I didn't feel like I was pushing that agenda. But there's some things that were happening that I didn't even realize. Sometimes you don't realize you're being co-opted. Sometimes you don't realize that part of you is being objectified. And all of you is not wanted, but a part of you is. And I saw something earlier, and I saw Kanye West spoke about expository teaching.
Yep.
And it traveled the internet so quickly. But that wasn't the only thing he said in the interview. That's just the only thing that matched the agenda of Christians. And so they co-opted or objectified a piece of him when he's a whole person. And I think that's what I realized was happening to me in some senses.
Wow. Sometimes I'm often called a sellout because I'm connected to Dave Ramsey. I am 98% of our organization is white. I'm from the urban community. I mean, my brother, I'm from, San Diego, California. I grew up in the Black community, black culture, Black Church of God in Christ. And man, I've had those long nights of crying, of questioning, am I a sellout? Questioning my assignment for God. Because I felt like, okay, wait, do they only like a part of me? And am I settling just for that part? And I had to really go into counseling and start really asking those hard questions for myself. And so I can relate to your pain, your questions, and what you're going through, because I go through that often, and I often have to ask myself, like, hey, are you being your true, authentic self, Anthony? Yeah. And wherever you are, you need to be your true, authentic self.
Absolutely.
And if they don't accept you, peace out, which is why I'm still here, because this organization accepts all of me. Do we agree on everything? Nah, we don't. But I love this organization, so I get you on that one. I was reading your book, and I wrote this down. I wrote it down because I want to be straight to your words. You said in your book that race relations in America are more about how Black you are not than how Black you are. And that the more you step away from your Blackness, the more the majority accepts you. Now, bruh, let's be real. That's a huge statement. Help me, well, not help me, help all of us understand what you mean by that.
Well, let's look at the terminology first, because some people, when they hear Blackness, they think of color. Ooh. And we're not talking about color. All right. So when we say Blackness, we're speaking more about culture. And uniquely, we have been broken up in this society, in this world that we're in, by our color. And so when you separate people by their color, they're going to develop similar cultural norms, right? If we were separated by something else, like if we were separated by the size of our fingers, we would have certain cultural norms that would be similar.
Yeah.
So Black people, because they've been separated by color, bond together and have these cultural norms. And people like to export some of our culture, the dancing, the music, some of these things, but not all of our culture.
Come on, bro, you teaching,
And so if you're representing all of your culture, specifically in a white dominated society, it's actually frowned upon. So I was telling a story of a good friend of mine who lives in my neighborhood, and he's an executive for a major company, a Black guy. He's on the phone talking to his staff, and I drove by him and I said, "What's going on, man?" He said, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And then he texted me later. He said, "Oh my gosh, Lecrae, my whole staff now knows what code switching is, because they've never heard me talk like this before." And so, he had muted his Blackness in order to thrive in a white society. And that's a poem. I think it was Paul Laurence Dunbar. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It's kind of like you have to conform in order to fit in to the dominant society.
Do you think code switching is what we have to do, we should do, or should we be who we are in every single space?
Yeah, I don't think code switching is healthy for your mind. I don't think it's healthy mentally. And the reason why I would say that is because you're numbing who you are, who God has created you to be.
Come on, bro.
The dynamics and the beauty of who you are, you're numbing in order to, function.
Yeah.
And so you're selling yourself short. We would never imagine, American culture having to go to Japan or the Japanese business owners to come to America. We would never imagine them not bowing or not speaking their language. We would never force that idea upon them. But in America, there's such a disdain. There's such a historic, I would say, vitriol toward Black culture, Black people, that it's frowned upon when you exemplify any of those types of characteristics. And I just want people to know, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. You're made in the image of God. It's beautiful. Wear your locks and your braids and whatever. Like, be who God made you to be.
You know, it's so funny, man. I was on a plane. It's actually, I won't say the particular airline, but this was an American airline coming back from Israel. And you know how Muslims, at particular times, they have to pray. And so on this flight, where I would say predominantly the majority of the people on the flight were American, two Muslims got up in the middle of the night, in the middle of this time, and started praying. They didn't care about adapting to our culture and our ways. They said, no matter where I am, I'm going to do what I need to be doing and be who I am. Yep. And right then and there was the time that switched for me. I'm going to be real with y'all on this show, because it's Lecrae. When I first joined the team here at Ramsey Solutions, I started to adapting myself every time I got on the Dave Ramsey show to be pleasing to his audience. That's when I started noticing, I started getting a lot of negative reviews. After I saw that, that's when I said, yo, if he could be himself and not be uncomfortable in front of all of us, how come you can't be yourself in front of all of them? The moment I sat there and said, all right, I'm going to be me on the show, that was the moment that I started realizing people actually receive me better as my authentic self than me just switching up to please them and to sound like Dave and to sound like some of our other personalities. And I agree with you. We should not code switch. Now, we should learn to adapt, adjust, and overcome. We should learn to adapt to our environments, but not change who we are as individuals.
Absolutely. And it's funny. I agree with you. I think, obviously, everyone has to adapt in some sense in order to navigate life, right? There's certain ethic or cultural codes that you function by. And that's a different scenario. That's a different story. That's just general speak. But I think when something that you should not be ashamed of is made into something, a picture of shame, that's a problem, right? Like the Bible talks about Jesus despising the shame. Like they tried to shame him for who he really was, King of the Jews, get out of here. And I find it funny because when I'm around my white friends, none of them ever switch up the way they talk to be more comfortable around me or my Black friends.
Come on,
we
bro.
do that.
Come on.
We do that. You know what I mean? Oh, how are you doing today? Good to see you, Jay.
Good to see you.
They don't ever bring up the latest episode of Martin that they watch. Why am I bringing up Seinfeld? I don't watch baseball. I watch basketball.
Right. Come on.
Why
bro.
am I trying to keep up with that's not acceptable. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And I think they lose out on the dynamic of who we're created to be and how we can contribute to the greater good of our world and our society.
Man, you hitting it on, man. It just goes back to God fearfully and wonderfully made Lecrae. He fearfully and wonderfully made Anthony O'Neill. I have flaws, but God made me, and he already knew these are going to be Anthony O'Neill's flaws. But I still called you for a particular reason and for a particular purpose, so be you. Lecrae, I've gained so much more respect for you over the last few years, man, watching you grow from years ago. You are one of the main guys who helped my little brother grow and to exceed into his music career. And so I've been following you, your ministry, your heart, and even just your journey over the last few years. But lately, bro, you've been very vocal online about the racial stuff we're battling right now. Where's that fire coming from in you? Because 4 years ago, you said some things, but you weren't as vocal. But today, this Lecrae dropping music videos. I mean, you're on IG. I mean, you've become this musical activist. And I want to ask that question because a lot of my white friends say, does Lecrae hate us? Does he think all white people are racist? Like, can you please ask him, where is this coming from? And does he still have love for us, the white people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that I hear that a lot, and I think a lot of it has to do with the idea that if it's unfortunate, we do not deal well with nuance, like just as people, as human beings, we don't do well with nuance. And so the less we know about somebody or about a culture or about a particular world, the more we're offended when someone says something that's counter to our world, right? When you say to me, you know, the Los Angeles Lakers are the best team in the world, and I grew up a Knicks fan, I feel a little way about that. Wait, do you mean you hate the Knicks? And it's not that I hate the Knicks.
I don't like neither one of them.
Oh, there you go. But it's that I love my team. And there's nothing wrong with really loving my team. I understand the nuances of my team. And so if you were able to say, oh, I spent some time with Lecrae and I noticed he grew up in LA. He so embodied in LA culture. It was his dad's favorite team. His dad passed away. I see why he's such a Lakers fan. That's the nuance of it. And when you don't take time to understand the nuance, you feel away internally. And so when someone's saying, hey, you know, I see some issues in the church. I see some issues with race. Wait, whoa, where's this coming from? Do you hate us? It's like, no, I love you. You're my brothers and my sisters.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that if we're a body collectively, the arm is hurt. And so we're supposed to acknowledge that. Right? I'm just saying the arm is hurt. Can we acknowledge that the arm is hurt? And that's what we're called to do. And so it's not hatred, it's raising awareness.
Brad.
Yeah.
You said it, man. You said it, you know. When one part of the body is hurting, isn't it funny? Our feet can be hurting. Our feet can be the thing that's causing an issue, but our head feels it. Our hands feels it. And it's like, I wonder, do people understand that?
Yeah.
As Christians, if any of our peers are hurting, we all are hurting. The body is hurting. And we should be more than willing to address that rather than ask the question, well, just because your feet is hurting doesn't mean that my feet is hurting.
Right. Or even more, if you're the hand and I'm the foot and I'm saying, we're going through some pain. I don't feel anything.
Right.
I don't feel a thing. Think you might be exaggerating because I feel fine up here.
See. You about to take me somewhere else, bro. You about to take me somewhere else. Oh, my. All right. So we can say that you don't have any hatred. You hate racism. You don't hate specific people. Right.
Racism isn't evil, but we also have to remember that racism is not... Racism, it's terms, too, that people struggle with. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's terms. People struggle with terms.
Okay.
So they hate the term white supremacy because when they hear that term, in their mind, they see white hooded figures who are evil and trying to take over. That's not what white supremacy looks like. White supremacy is when you think about the top businesses in America, they're all white male dominated. White men run the country. That's supremacy. It's not necessarily like this evil thing. It's a reality. Right. And so as a Christian, you should care about these realities that hinder people from being able to shine and grow and go where they want to go. When we say racism is not vitriol and hatred, like, oh, I hate these people. Racism many times is unconscious. Right? It's an unconscious bias that you're like, I would hire Shaniqua, but I just don't. Will she even like fit in with us? We like golf and we like this, and I just don't even. That's racism. It's not that you hate Shaniqua. It's not that you're like, oh, she's beneath me. It's that you're in power and you refuse to leverage that for somebody because you're like, their race or ethnicity, I don't want to accommodate. It's racism.
One of the things I really love to do on the show is really get people practical because there are some people watching this show right now, bro, who are depressed, who have gone through some trauma, who have experienced racism in the past, who have experienced being pulled over and racially profiled. What are some things that you are doing on a daily to really practice moving forward, to be healed from your trauma? And what has strengthened your own mental health moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is, you said it, it's moving forward, right? When you are caught up in arguing and trying to prove your point to people who are not interested in progression or transformation, you're wasting time.
Yeah.
So let's look at it in tiers. Tier 1, I take care of me.
Okay.
Right. And that seems very selfish, but it's not, because if my infant is drowning and I'm drowning, if I can't breathe, I can't save the infant. So I got to make sure I get air to save the infant. Right. So I take care of me. Mindfulness, meditation, prayer, eating right, exercise. Yeah. All those things make sure I'm healthy. I'm saying a regular time spiritually connecting with God keeps me healthy and whole, and not listening to these voices that don't know me, but only have perceptions of me. Listening to the voices that do know me and can tell me honest, truthful, caring things. Even if it's critical, I know they love me. So it's helpful. Second tier is my loved ones, is taking care of them and making sure that they're healthy and being a light unto them. And then third tier is using the extra energy I have to take care of me and my family, is to leave a little bit of heaven everywhere I go externally, to do the work, right? It's not, stop arguing your points. If you're like, oh my gosh, some people need to raise awareness. Absolutely. Right. But you can't continue screaming about how the schools are terrible if you don't plan on doing something about these terrible schools. Come on, bro. So that's where the difference lies for me.
I get you. Tier number 1, I love. I'm always reminded by my therapist. I see a therapist like twice a month, not because I'm sick, but because I want to make sure I prevent myself from becoming sick. And she says, make sure that the voices that speak into your life are qualified. Qualified to speak into your life, because there are a lot of voices, and you get this from having a platform. Just even last night, Colin is in here, and my marketer, I got 13 emails from people just jumping on me. You a sellout, you this, you that, you this. And those voices are not qualified to speak into my life. But, Lecrae can, but my brand leader can, but my pastor can. You got to really identify who are the voices qualified to speak into your life, and you got to tune out everything else. So what you said right there is so crucial. One of the key voices I believe that talks into our life, man, is Jesus Christ. And I know some of you are watching my show right now. You're not a Christian, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And on this show, we will talk about Jesus. I'm curious, Lecrae, over the last few years of this journey that you have been on, tell us about your faith journey over the last few years, man. What are you learning about yourself? What is God revealing to you about others, and just more about Him?
Yeah. Well, one, I think probably the biggest thing I've learned, because you got to remember, I came into the faith with this idea that knowing was growing. The more I knew, the more I was growing. Knowing is not growing. Being is growing. Come on, bro. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So being a person of character, being consistent, being responsible means you're growing. Knowing what responsibility is does not mean you're responsible. Yeah. And so I stopped being overwhelmed with just accumulating empty knowledge, and I started focusing on becoming. And what God has shown me in this process is that He is not transactional. He's not this God that we want in society that comes in and snaps his fingers and everything's better. Microwave, beep, beep, beep. I need a new attitude, change. He is relational. So He wants to walk with us through that process. It's like therapy, right? You talk about therapists. You don't walk into a therapist's office for one session and walk out like, I'm good, I'm better.
It's a journey.
Exactly. It's the process. And so God has shown me that He wants to walk with me through it. He's also shown me that He's not going to remove a lot of the problems that I have to deal with.
Come on, bro.
So he's not going to always take the pain away. He's going to give me the ability to walk through the pain, right? So he won't make the storm stop, but he'll give you an umbrella.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He'll give you a raincoat.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to start asking God for. Lord, I don't take this path away. Give me feet for the path. And that's what God has shown me a lot of in this season of my life.
God asked Solomon, he said, what did he say? Hey, man, ask me for anything you want. Solomon said, I just want wisdom and knowledge. So God, give me the feet for the path along with your wisdom and knowledge, and I'll be okay in this journey. Because I know at the end of it, if I have your feet for this journey, and if I have your wisdom and knowledge, I'm going to be Gucci. I'm going to be good. And so that's one of the things that I've been asking God is, God, give me the wisdom and knowledge, because I come from all black people around me, all black church. I came from the Bethel Church, Bishop Rudolph McKissick Jr. out of Jacksonville, Florida. And the oldest historic building. It is the oldest Baptist church in the state of Florida from slavery. And so everything was black. Then I come here, everything is white. And I'm like, God, I need your wisdom, because this ain't me. Because I don't, like bro, I don't know what to do.
How do you navigate it?
Right. I'm like, God, what do I do? And so this journey hasn't been easy, but it's been the best journey because God's been on it with me, and I just absolutely love it. In your recent book, man, I Am Restored, you talk about how you lost your religion, but you found your faith. And you guys, I'm going to drop the link to his book below. And you guys know how I roll. I don't talk about a lot of books unless I've read it, unless my content lady, Eva, she's in the building, she's read it, because I just want to make sure whatever book we're recommending to you, it will bless you. This book will bless you. It's going to reveal some things, and it will challenge you in certain areas. But Lecrae, you say you lost your religion, but you found your faith. Can you break that down for us, bro?
Yeah. So the way I think we would culturally define religion is working to earn acceptance, right? So it's a set of rules or rituals that you follow. And in following them, what we're saying is that, hey, I'm doing this in order for you to accept me and to love me. And faith requires the belief that I'm already accepted. And so my actions don't get me more affirmation or love. My actions are just a sincere desire to serve out of the reality that I've already been accepted. It takes a lot of faith to believe that there's nothing you can do to make God love you more or less.
Yeah.
That's faith. Yeah. And so I don't want to get caught up in religion where I'm just doing rituals. It's kind of like coming home, knocking on the door. Hey, sweetheart, how you doing? I know this is what I'm supposed to do, so I got you some flowers because this is what husbands do.
Right.
Sleeping on the couch. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now you come home and you say, I've been thinking about you all day. And man, I just was like, man, on a whim, I said, let me get you some flowers because you just mean so much to me. You're sweet. And now it's going to be a good night. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between relationship and religion. And so it's
going to be a real good night.
Or a real good night.
We may even have a baby Lecrae popping up around here.
Hey, and listen, that's some free lesson. That's a free relationship nugget for y'all. Okay, no cost at all.
All y'all single people, no good nights. We got to suffer together. But y'all married people, y'all better take that nugget. Y'all better take it. If y'all need a good night tonight, you better take that nugget. Go get us some flowers, and just have that smooth talk, like you said. No, girl, I've been thinking about you
all day.
Yo, so we cannot have Lecrae on the table and not talk about music. Like, brother, you Grammy, Dove, BET, you name it. Like you are literally going down in the history books as one of the best hip hop artists during my generation, during our times. Some people would call you a gospel hip hop artist. And okay then, go ahead and say that thing, bro.
I was just lifting weights. I'm sorry.
Hold on, wait.
I'm playing.
It's like you're an author, with which this book is really, you dive into some heavy stuff. But lately, your music, bro, you've you've been diving into some heavy stuff. And one thing I've learned about you is you tell your story. You deliver your message through your music. Talk to us about this latest album, Restoration, and what this particular project means to you. Because I got to give it to you. You know, some people may get upset when I say this, and you all know my heart. But you gave love to Breonna Taylor. You know, you gave love to this racial thing that we're going in right now. And I have to say, I'm a huge fan of that music video. What inspired you, bro? Like, what's driving this album right now?
Yeah, Restoration is that people need a sense of healing. They need a sense of restoration. They need restorative music, restorative messages. And, you know, oftentimes it's very blanketed. It's like, hey, whatever you're going through. And I felt like, hey, this cultural moment that we're in right now needs to hear a voice to speak specifically to it, and a voice that is tuned in with God and wants to speak to this moment, not blanketed and not, you know, kind of, hey, whatever is going on out here in society, God loves you.
Yeah.
No, let's talk specifically, and let's talk about these issues that are creating tension and frustration. And so, you know, that's a lot of what I wanted to do with the music, is give people some pointed truth and encouragement, and also reveal my own struggle, my own pain, my own trying to navigate that. It's frustrating, you know, and that's the human condition. I never try to hide my humanity, ever. So whenever I make music, you're going to hear the human part of me wrestle, and then hopefully come to a place of health and truth.
Yeah. Well, you're doing good in that, man. You're doing good in that. And I thank you. Thank you for your music. Thank you for your truth. Thank you for being consistent. And just being who God made you to be. Last question, man, as we end this day, I want you to help someone. You know, there are people who feel broken right now in their own life, from their past, from all the racism stuff that's going on and the systemic injustice that they are seeing. And maybe they feel rejected, not just from their church, but maybe from their friends of whatever race. What can they be doing? Ask not they. What can we be doing to embrace our own healing and freedom so we can move forward?
Oh, man. I think one is, you know, if you're, there's tiers of this, I guess. So on one tier, I think you have to take your emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical health extremely seriously. You are a whole person. And so if you're trying to lose weight, you don't just pray the fat away, right? You go work out. You go work out. You got to think holistically about the whole of who you are. So if you don't know God, what I would say to you is that, listen, if you woke up and you feel like you have purpose, and you have worth, that worth and purpose comes from somewhere intrinsically. If there's no God, then you're just a cosmic accident, and it doesn't make sense for you to have purpose or worth, but you do have purpose or worth. So investigate. If you do know God, if you do know the Lord, the tomb is empty today. The tomb is empty. Whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through is not bigger than death and separation from God. And so you can always find encouragement that the tomb is empty, regardless of racism, injustice, doesn't hold a candle to death and eternal separation. And if God can beat that, he can beat whatever it is you're facing right now in this moment.
Well, listen, bro, we going to end right there. I don't need to say nothing else. I don't need to ad-lib to that. I don't need to say nothing. We're going to end that thing right there, boy. That's Lecrae for you. That's why you need to get this man book. Go get his album. You know, I'm a huge fan of Spotify and Apple Music, but I actually purchase his music. I don't purchase everybody's music. I'm going to be real with you, you know. But I do actually hit that buy now button because I'm not just only enjoying the music, but I'm supporting this man's cause. And so we're going to drop a link below to where you can purchase his book. And also, Connor, let's drop a link to where we can, for his music as well. Anything else you want to tell the people about yourself? Where can they go to learn more information about you?
Lecrae.com. Make sure you check me out. All things about me is Lecrae.com. And if you ever go on my pages on social media, just don't read the comments. Not good for your soul.
Yeah, I think my people know that because my comments be a little bit crazy too. I feel good, man. But y'all, this is why we have a conversation at the table. Because we keep it real, we keep it relevant, and we keep it relatable. And we're willing to have the hard conversations and make it kind of easy, bro. You know? And I think we did that today. And I appreciate you, Lecrae, for your time, for your wisdom, and for just serving the body, man. And so we love you. My tribe, we're going to support you. Get this man's book, get this man's album, and we'll see you next Monday at 8 a.m. Peace.